Now, if you are excited for this year's NFL preseason, then like the video. About to have some games back beyond just the NFL Hall of Fame game. So before we break down or at least one training camp winner for each NFL team, like the video for me right now. First up on our training camp winners, how about Kirk Cousins, the Falcons quarterback? He looks healthy. Doesn't appear that Michael Penix can take that job anytime soon. And at least for the short term, good start to training camp for the Falcons. I will make note, by the way, for team channels we have, the player name came from that channel host. So they've been consulted with across the board. The Saints, Chase Young, had that little scare with the injury after he signed. Seems fine. And I think there's a real chance getting to go opposite Cam Jordan. Going to be a lot of sacks in Chase Young's future. Now, there are times I want him to not just go after the sack and play the run as well, which isn't as big of a thing in training camp. I think there could be a nice season coming up for Chase Young. About Diontae Johnson in Carolina. Look, Xavier Leggette's been banged up. No way around it. That sucks for him. Johnson, I think, is primed to be this team's number one wide receiver over Adam Thielen. Seems like the connection between him and Bryce Young has come along nicely, and that's a big deal because Carolina needs to actually help out Bryce Young. Let's go with the rookie wide receiver, Jalen McMillan out of Washington. He hit the ground running in Tampa, and with Chris Godwin's deal almost over, he might not be back next year. That is how impressive McMillan has been. Will probably be receiver 3 this upcoming season. That's fine. Long term, super intrigued by him and what we've seen so far. Miami, how about Quinton Bell? Dolphins battling some injuries at edge, retirement. Bell, a former draft pick by the Raiders who was a multi-year project, seems to finally be clicking in Miami. Could provide some much-needed pass rush depth for the Dolphins. Matthew Judon has been in and out of Patriots training camp. Keion White has taken advantage of his opportunities. Again, that is a gifted athlete who needed some time coming out of Georgia Tech. Seems like a step has been taken. Breece Hall, who was on a bit of a pitch count last year, up until the Jets tried to get him to 1,000 yards and then forgot how many yards they had and pulled him late, and he didn't get there, which was hilarious. Looks to be another year removed from that injury. Even more back, more explosive. He and Garrett Wilson, long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, going to carry that Jets offense. And there's a real chance, by at least, end of the year, Keon Coleman is the number 1 wide receiver in Buffalo. Lots of highlight reel plays for Coleman, who could be a gem of a find outside of round 1 for Buffalo. Now, you guys know just as much, if not more, than I would argue most media out there for your favorite teams. So I want you to shout out your favorite team and name a training camp winner at the pinned comment of today's show. It's a multi-step task, so if an ad comes on YouTube here, great. Take advantage while the ad plays. Let me know at the pinned comment. Johnny Wilson for Philadelphia. Now, Devonta Smith looks really good too. And this is a great thing to mention. Sometimes one side of the ball looking good actually means bad things for the other side of the ball. But Wilson as the freaky height, weight, speed combo might have been a little find for Philadelphia. I was going to put Tyler Guyton on this list for the Cowboys. I pulled him off since he's battled illness as of late, but he would have been a good answer too. I'm going to go with Jalen Tolbert instead. Third-year wide receiver, no CeeDee Lamb present at Cowboys training camp so far. Tolbert has taken advantage and is taking a big step forward. The Commanders, not putting every rookie on here, but Jaden Daniels seems to have command of the Commanders' offense. I didn't mean to make that pun. I'm sorry. That was very bad of me. And is going to be the starter. So I'm excited about Jaden Daniels for Washington. Malik Neighbors, by the way, is that dude. Now, is it the $1 million Bugatti, Ferrari, whatever it was, in the rundown house meme? Yeah, kind of, with Daniel Jones throwing the ball. But Neighbors has been dominant, not just Giants practice, but joint practices as well against the Lions. Speaking of, Lions winner is Kirby Joseph because he won the fight against Malik Neighbors. Neighbors kind of trolling, smacking the head. Kirby Joseph won that fight. That was going to be a KO if they weren't wearing helmets. So kind of funny answer. Kirby just, who I also love, by the way, as a player. Jalen Naylor. Could have gone J.J. McCarthy here too, by the way. But I'm going to go with the potential number 3 receiver for Minnesota. Seems like he's taken a step up out of Michigan State a couple years ago. And with Jordan Addison maybe suspended, we'll see about that. Naylor could be in line for a bigger role. The Packers. I don't know who the number 1 receiver is actually going to be. You can ask different people. Some will say Christian Watson. Some will say Jaden Reed. Some will say Dontavian Wicks. Don't sleep on Dubs. It's had a great training camp so far in Green Bay. The Bears. If this were preseason winners, probably be Colin Johnson. We'll go Tyler Scott, though, first and foremost. Now, I was a big fan of Scott coming out of Cincinnati. I want this to be true. I want him to be a high-end impact player, but we'll have to wait and see how that develops. Now, you can get the NFL rookie jersey for almost everybody. I think you know who I'm referring to there. Over at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/NFL jersey. That's chatsports.com/NFL jersey. The link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's got the right numbers. There are different color options there. You just got to either filter or search to find them since there's a lot of jerseys out there. And turns out your favorite player might not, or the one you want to get, might not be the one that's at the top of the recent sales list there. So chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Next up is Dameon Pierce. Look, Joe Mixon's been banged up a lot again. Just a red flag. It's also why I think the Bengals are down to move on from him. Pierce taking advantage, getting plenty of reps with the ones in that process, seems to be acclimating better to the offense than he did last year. Sounds like Trey Sermon is going to grab the Colts' number 2 running back job behind Jonathan Taylor, the former Niner, Eagle, maybe finding a third life, or a second life, or even just the first life for him in the NFL in Indy. You know, when Tennessee dropped their depth chart, it's a little surprised to see Josh Whyle get the OR designation alongside Chig Okonkwo. And I think that's testament to how good Whyle has been so far at training camp. Maybe he's not the true tight end 1, but he has really impressed in Tennessee so far. I know that Jags fans saw this last year and were mad with how he played in the regular season, but the Tank Bigsby propaganda campaign's back out there again, pushing that he looks really good. The Jags, I think, want to get him involved. Hopefully he's more of a gamer than he was last year. Justin Fields for Pittsburgh. I think there's a real battle at the starting quarterback spot for Pittsburgh. Now, maybe Russ still wins it because it's a lot easier to go from Russell Wilson to Justin Fields than it might be to go from Fields to Wilson. And Wilson's the veteran and has the first crack and was the pole position guy, etc. But Wilson missed some time at camp with his calf injury and showcased a couple things. Who will end up being QB1 for the majority of the season in Pittsburgh? JF for Justin Fields, RW for Andrew Vorhees. All right, next up on the training camp winners side, I don't know why I said, did I say Andrew Vorhees for Russell Wilson? Clearly I meant RW for Russell Wilson and was going to get to Andrew Vorhees. That was a full-on Ron Burgundy moment there. At least it wasn't a swear word or anything. Vorhees going to carve out, it seems like, a starting spot in Baltimore for a revamped offensive line. Had the gruesome injury in the pre-draft process. He would potentially be a steal, though, for the Ravens, given how talented he actually is. The Browns. This is from Matthew Peterson, so I'm going to blame him. He says Watson looks really good at Browns training camp. For his sake, I hope he is right, because the Browns need that. They have a good team. They need their highly paid quarterback to be good and not just okay. The Bengals, from Producer Stone, by the way. Andrei Iosivas continues to showcase his ability at wide receiver. This is the rare back-to-back years, and most teams, most fan bases, often fall in love with a receiver during training camp. This would be back-to-back years that Yoshi gets that tag in Cincinnati. If you guys want daily videos, NFL, the occasional NBA, college football as well, hit that sub button, youtube.com/chatsportstv. The Chargers, led by Jim Harbaugh. How about Kristian Fulton, who I liked a lot coming out of LSU, had a good year early in Tennessee, then got banged up, had some injuries. I think there's a real chance he carves out a key role and ends up being a nice free agency find for LA. Denver, remember the rumors of Javonte Williams having to fight with Samaje Perine for a roster spot? Well, guess what? He is the number one back pretty clearly. Doesn't seem to be any type of issues on that front. Javonte Williams, the Denver Broncos running back. Raiders, Dylan Laub, who I am very intrigued by here. This is a later round pick out of New Hampshire, a small school guy, but he's got some athletic juice on third downs. I would not sleep on him carving out a role alongside Zamir White. Chiefs, Kingsley Suamataia, the offensive tackle. Now, I think he's going to start week 1 at left tackle. I think that's a good thing for KC. I liked him coming out of BYU. Sounds like he's been pretty sharp, efficient, etc. in terms of his blocking. It's a good sign for KC. So will the Chiefs repeat? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section of today's video. Final 4. Geno Smith. A, I think he fits the offense really well in Seattle under new OC Ryan Grubb. B, he's looked pretty good in the process. C, the injury was minor. D, Sam Howell ain't looked that good. It's his job still. Let's go Zaven Collins. Didn't have a great answer for Arizona, frankly. But he got paid, and he's in line with this team's top pass rusher because of various injuries. The Niners. The Amador Lenore is next up here. And I think there's been some flashes. He's kind of shut down Ricky Parasol a couple times, by the way, in training camp for San Francisco. Don't sleep on him. And also Kobe Durant, I think, is going to earn a job as a starter and has looked really good in Los Angeles as our final option here for the Rams. I'm trying to pick one winner. I know I left guys off the list. I'm not going to do 10 winners for each team. That's a 5-hour video, and nobody wants to do that there. But I think those are your training camp winners so far.